You know what's crazy? I actually don't even remember the last time that I ran a mile. But super clear night, so we're gonna try to get it done today. As I run, I want to give you brief updates on the books that I read in February for Black History Month. So I made a 30-minute video for a February recap. And then, whenever I got into it, so starting with my least favorite read of the month was Call Us What We Carry by Gorman. I'm not entirely sure why this book didn't click with me, but I gave it a 2.5. I think it's a little bit too historical. Feels kind of like you're reading a history book at times. And it's placed during COVID, which was a terrible time. So, didn't like it, not for me. The next book I read was I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maia, Angelou. And my goodness, that book was awesome. I gave it 5 stars, her debut memoir. And it really portrays the terribleness and the terrifying life of growing up as a black person in absolutely racist America in the 1940s and 50s. And it ends up until the point where she is a teenage mom, just graduating high school. Beautiful book, you should go read it. I also read Beloved by Toni Morrison. This book is beautiful and is very brutal, and I think it is one of the darkest books that I have read in recent memory and probably in the foreseeable future. Toni Morrison has a beautiful way of writing that encapsulates brutality and violence in just such a poetic way that I've never seen done before. I also read Rest and Be Thankful by Emily Glass. And this book is one of the saddest books I've ever read in my entire life. It's about a nurse on a pediatric terminal illness ward. And I think that hits very close to home for me personally. So if you want to be really sad and cry a lot, read Rest and Be Thankful by Emily Glass. I also read On Earth as It Is Beneath by Paula Maia. And it is the very first book that I read off the 2026 International Booker Prize long list. And this book was okay. I gave it 3 stars. You're pretty much following a group of people in a penal colony that you go to and nobody ever escapes. And then as it gets close to shutting down because it's not a successful rehabilitative program for inmates, every full moon the warden decides to attempt to let prisoners escape, and then he hunts them. It's an absolutely beautiful night out here. Look at the moon. It is beautiful. There's a nice cold breeze. It's about 35 degrees right now. And I could not ask for a better night to go on a run. Overall, I'm not feeling nearly as bad as I thought I would running this 1 mile. But right now, obviously, I'm taking a break and just walking for a minute. Now, before you judge me for this terrible breathing and incredibly out of shape run, I do not recall the last time that I actually ran a mile. And I'm extremely out of shape, and I'm part of the incredibly famous Skinny Fat Dads Club. Let's go. So the first book I read this month was Giovanni's Room by Baldwin. And this book was absolutely phenomenal. I went into it completely blind, and I'm going to leave you pretty much the same way. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but just know that this book really strips down masculinity to its bare bones and takes a very dark turn at the end. And you should definitely go read it this month if you haven't already. All right, that's all the books I read in February for Black History Month. But one last update is I did not get to finish A Clash of Kings, second book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. But I'm going to finish that this week, the first week of March, and then report back to you on that. Thanks for being here with me, going on this beautiful run, and talk to you guys again really soon. Bye.